What's up and welcome back. If you clicked on this video, you already know why and you know what this stuff's about. So let's get it installed. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do when you get in the Jeep is remove your duck. Don't lie, you know you got one. Then you're gonna remove this rubber base pad. Next thing you're gonna do is grab a Phillips screwdriver and remove these two screws. There's one. And there's two. Next, you're gonna stick your rail mount up there. Make sure it's seated down in place. And you're gonna take some kind of a colored pencil, or I've got some metallic Sharpies I like to use. This is actually a pencil made for marking on metal. And you're just gonna mark these two holes for the extra screws they give you in the kit. And pull that out. Then I'm going to try to use these two drill bits, and I'm just going to do it by hand. So this is a wood drill bit, but it has a really sharp point on it. I'm going to try to use that to get my hole centered and started. And then I'm going to take this drill bit, which is a 7/64, which is just a step below 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to try to make this hole just by hand, because I don't want to, I don't have a drill that will get in here. For one, but also don't want to hurt my tint. I have my front window is tinted. It's just clear tint, but it is tinted with some ceramic tint, and I don't want to mess that up. Okay, the little drill bit didn't work out, but this guy did with that sharp point. I was able to grab onto it pretty good and get it twisted down in there. And once I did that, I was able to get the screws started with a screwdriver, and now I'm going to try to get them started with this and get them threaded down in there. Okay, I got the holes worked over and I got it to where I could get the screws in there pretty easy. I didn't run them all the way down. I just made sure that the threads were cut, I guess you would say, in the plastic. I'm going to pull those back out and get them out of the way. One thing I will say though is to make sure that where you were cutting the hole, there's no plastic left sticking up around it. So you may need to take a razor or something, or just really your fingernail, and kind of scrape that plastic off so that that surface is flush right there. Next thing you're going to do is to get some rubbing alcohol and put it on a rag and clean up that area. Get all the grease off of it so that your 3M tape will stick. You really only got to wipe down the ends here, but I'm going to wipe down all of it just because. And make sure you let that dry before you stick your stuff on there. Okay, now that that's dry, you peel the tape off your mount, and it's time to stick it. Really only get one shot at that, so don't screw it up. Now we're going to work on getting our screws in there. And I'm going to start with the back ones because they're going to be the most difficult. And be sure not to over tighten those because it is just plastic. Now we're going to work on putting in our factory screws, wherever I put them. Again, do not over tighten those. That is nice and secure. Now in hindsight, I should have cut this and put it what was left down below, and I may still do that. I'll just cut it a little bit lower than I would have had to. I'll just cut it down here at the bottom probably and stick it up underneath there. All right, I just took my pocket knife and I made a couple cuts, and that fits right down in there like it used to. Do have a little bit of a gap on both ends, but that's okay. You are not going to see it. I can barely see it. And now that that's done, we get to do the fun part. Put our little balls in there. Get those in there, get our mounts all mounted up. Come on, girl. There's one. There's two. And there's three. And there's four. Snug those up a bit. Yeah, you don't have to get them super tight. Those aren't going anywhere. Then you're going to grab your arm and stick it on. Boom, baby. Now that you got both arms on, oh my gosh. Now that you have both arms on, it's time to put on your phone mount for your phone. Right here, this thing. All right, now that that's done, you can pretend like you're not recording this video on your iPhone and put your phone in there. And these, just like everybody says, these are super solid. I don't even have them tightened down very much. And they're just really solid. That's done. Now I'm going to move on to the tablet holder I got, which goes in right there. Goes in right there. We're going to grab a 5/16 Allen. We're going to pull this bolt out. Comes right out of there nice and easy. We're going to drop that on the floor. And then I'm going to throw just a little bit of blue Loctite on these threads, because why not? And you'll start that in there. Okay, and as soon as that gets bottomed out, it is ready. That is nice and solid. And now that you got that installed, it's time to experiment with some arms and figure out how far you want your tablet to stick out. And really, I think this mini or micro, whichever it's called, the one that doesn't really have an arm in between, is going to be just about right. Okay, so here's what the micro arm looks like. This is about where I would sit whenever I'm over here, and the tablet is just, I mean, just right there within reach. So I think I like that a lot with that arm on there, and it is pretty solid. I mean, it might vibrate a little going down the road occasionally, but it's not because the mount's loose, it's because, well, the plastic's given. So that is very nice. Let's throw a tablet in there and see what that looks like. So I've got my iPad. So I've got my iPad Pro, which is the first one. It's a 10.5 inch, and it fits in there just right. So now we can have our maps or whatever my wife wants to be doing over here, watching some kind of movies. Actually, I'm probably going to drive over here. I'm going to be watching YouTube. That's what's going to happen. Man, that is solid. Solid. Anyways, that is super nice. Solid as can be. I cannot believe how solid that is. Just so you guys know, the iPad Pro fits in that mount very nicely. And this is the large universal tablet holder from 67 Designs. So it does fit the 10.5 just fine. In fact, you could probably fit one that's just a little bit bigger. Because that thing does, I mean, it's going to be tight, but that thing does move out pretty good. And this tablet, I think, was 6.8 inches wide, and that was the max amount they said that this tablet would hold, or that was the max amount that they said this tablet holder would hold, was 6.8 inches, I think. Because I emailed them about it to make sure this would fit. And really, if you really wanted to flex on that thing, you could fit a bigger tablet in there. So anyway, if you guys got any questions about that, let me know. I can always get some measurements to tell you how far that thing actually goes. But I think they tell you it only fits a certain size just to be safe, so that, you know, you don't break their mount. But there's quite a bit of extra room there. And if you got a couple of GoPro holders, now would be a good time to put those on because I think you can just fold them down and out of the way, so you may as well store them up there. It's kind of funny because I don't even own a GoPro currently, but I do plan on investing in one. Dang it. Or maybe even the DJI. I kind of like their stuff a little better, but again, I don't own any of it. I just like what I hear on YouTube. Come on, man. Come on, man. Get on there. There we go. Operator error. Did I tighten up my ball? Yeah, I tightened them up, didn't I? No, I didn't tighten up my ball, man. Come on, man. Tighten up your ball, man. Tight ball. Kajigga. All done. Boom. Last but not least, don't forget to put Howard back up there. And there's a look at the cockpit when it's all done. Looks like we're ready to go. Okay, so for anybody that does want to know, this tablet holder actually opened up to 7 7/8 inches, or 7.875 for you machinists out there. So it does open up quite a bit further than what they say, although I'm sure there's a reason they recommend that you don't go that far. But if you're willing to take the risk or the chance of breaking it, then so be it. That's your choice to make. So just so you know, it does open that far. But that's the end of the video, so thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Alright, so I tried to put this video in last because people don't really like hearing about all the boring details. They just want to get right to the install process, and that's how I usually am too. So put this in the end just to give everybody an overview of what these parts are, if they actually cared. So these, I got a couple of phone holders for me and my wife from 67 Designs. It was a brand that was highly recommended, I guess, or looked up to from a lot of other Jeepers, so it's something I went with. And I gotta say, I mean, they do charge an outrageous price for this stuff. It is absolutely ridiculous, but it is very well made. I mean, these phone holders are legit. These are solid aluminum. Got a couple holes drilled in there with some rods and a couple springs in there. Very nice quality. A couple of phone holders. I also bought the tablet holder for the passenger side. And I did buy a, what is it, CMM Off-Road, one of their balls for the grab handle on the passenger side, since 67 Designs doesn't make one. I do honestly wish that I probably could have, wish that I would have bought the bullet point version of this. I didn't realize they made one until after I'd already bought this. It was about 15 bucks cheaper. This was about $40, ridiculous. I also bought a few different sizes of carbon fiber arms, 2 for the phones, and then 3 because I didn't know what size that I would need for the tablet holder on the passenger side. Didn't know how far I wanted that tablet to stick out, or my wife. So I bought a few different sizes of that. And I also bought a couple of GoPro holders. I'm not much of a YouTuber, but I wouldn't mind getting into it because it seems like fun. Bought one to face out, one to face in, so that my wife and I could maybe record some of our adventures in the future. There you have it.